I passed the interview at Amazon. This guy, phenomenal interviewer. Recruiter. He made sure the people who were interviewing me were. So I left Microsoft after I think 6 months. I got incredibly bored. I joined a team where I bounced. I joined Lyft. Incredible experience. I learned distributed systems. That was my first taste.
In this new podcast series, I'll be interviewing a software engineer who's gotten multiple job offers in one of the worst tech job markets. Fuad is incredibly smart, and in this video, he breaks down everything that you would need to know in order to get multiple tech job offers. Really hope you enjoy this episode of the podcast.
So yeah, my name's Fuad. I've been an engineer for close to 6 years now. I went more of the traditional path. I'd studied CS in undergrad. I did a bachelor's of science, and I think about 1 year into me doing computer science, I realized that I really wanted to make some good money.
Nice.
I did an internship. I was blessed to do my first internship at US Bank. I was making like $18 an hour. I was like at the top of the world, and super pumped and excited. So all my other peers were calling me crazy for doing an internship so soon.
Mm-hmm.
But that summer, near the end of it, I started looking at Reddit. I started noticing a ton of other people doing internships, but their pay was significantly different. I'm talking about, first year Facebook interns, Google interns making like 6-7 racks a month. And so I guess that's where my focus started shifting towards trying to get good at like data structures in order to get into, I guess, those kind of positions. And it took a long ass time.
You said it took a long time?
It took a long time, yeah, because I went to a school where there's only 8 other computer science students, and we're all following each other as we grew, as we progressed through, I guess, college. And so, like, the learning was so small and so rushed that practically I taught myself data structures and algorithms. And so through trial and error and through failing and through like discovering what HackerRank was, and then eventually what Leetcode was what got me into my first like tech internship at Nextdoor. And then that was like my first taste into like Silicon Valley tech, which is where I've been like focused on this past 6 years now.
Yeah. Somebody in chat asked, "Are you Somali, bro?" It was Tro Nikos.
100%. 100%. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. Yeah. No, I think it's interesting because I kind of experienced that too, where like I had a perception of computer science or whatever, and then like in college, and then like I saw things online, even talking to other people at the University of Florida, and I was just like, oh my God, like you can actually make insane amounts of money. Like it like blew my mind that you can make $180,000 out of college or whatever. Because what they pay the interns, I think, is like $40 an hour, $50 an hour, but then you get the actual new grad offer. Yeah, it's way more. And like I remember just hearing that, and I was just like, yeah, there's no way this is real. Like it feels pretty crazy. Like this is actually yeah. And then that's what kind of started me with Leetcode. Yeah.
Facts.
Yeah. So I mean, you said it took a long time. What do you mean like that? Because it sounded like you got it relatively fast. And you said Nextdoor, right?
Yeah. So I guess
that's the way you described it.
Yeah, it took a while, and I'll tell you why. Like, I took the data structures class. I spent probably the next like year and a half, so from like sophomore year to like junior year, just doing a ton of data structure and algorithm problems, and then doing a ton of interviews with like tech companies. And the biggest issue I was facing was like not having the network to get the interviews, because I went to the University of North Dakota. I didn't have the opportunity to talk to recruiters at my career fair. The folks that showed up to my career fair was the government or the local power company.
Yeah.
And so it took me a while to get actual interviews. I had to join like these diversity programs like Code 2040, and I had to join like randomly add a ton of people and DM them for referrals to kind of get an interview.
Yeah.
And then I guess while I was doing that, I was doing Leetcode, but I was more or less like memorizing solutions.
Mm-hmm.
And I was memorizing solutions for whatever company I could get an interview with. And so
Yeah.
it worked. Like I was able to get an internship at a nice company. I ended up like lucking my way into Foursquare. And then like through Foursquare, like I had some friends that were interning at Nextdoor. I asked them for a referral. They slid it through, and I ended up just having like I lucked my way, I feel like, into that internship as well.
Yeah.
Because the two problems I got asked, like I did 4 or 5 times in the past, one of them, and then the second interview, I think I actually just solved the problem I got asked the night before. So it was like the most crazy, unrealistic like string of events that occurred that like
Yeah.
helped me get that internship.
Yeah.
But then like the reality kind of sunk in once I started working at Nextdoor, and I wanted to leave. I was like,
Yeah.
yo, I tried to interview with like, I think LinkedIn. I tried to interview with Twitter because I was like, yo, I'm already nice. Like I'm at Nextdoor, been working here a year. Like I live in SF. Like I can do this. And I just got dominated. That old memorizing strategy was not it. And so that's when I really hunkered down and really started getting really good at solving data structure and algorithm problems, and honing in on these like patterns that I guess now are super popular.
Yeah, that's interesting too. Yeah, I mean, it sounds like too you've also had like a pretty long career. I think you said, I mean, I don't know how long actually your career is, but I think you worked at Microsoft and also Lyft. Yeah. And I guess so you figured out the interviews, worked at those companies, and then you quit to kind of launch your own startup, and then came back. And like what I don't know, I guess how do you feel like it's different and like interviewing now, or do you feel it's different? I don't know. Do you have any thoughts on that? Like,
yeah, so I feel like the interviews haven't changed so much. I feel like the questions you get asked, like they're always going to be the same, like data structure, algorithms. I feel like they select from the same pool, but like the difficulty and the ability to make mistakes in the interview has gone down significantly over the years. Like they expect folks to be like flawless. Like you need to 3-point lace every problem you get, or else there's like a little bit of hesitancy, like mixed signal. I think he was good, but he needed a little bit of help. It's a lot of that, those kind of shenanigans going on. So like you really have to, like the emphasis is on strong code quality and good communication skills. You got to be able to talk through your solution, talk through your problem, and you got to make sure the homie on the other side understands everything you're thinking as you're going through these problems. I think that's the narrative that shifted. Before there was kind of like a more like benefit of the doubt if you kind of figure it out, but now with the rise of like these chat GPTs and these little Anthropics, and I keep seeing an ad for some Leetcode tool or something on Blind. Have you seen that?
I don't know Leetcode tools. I also don't go blind that much, but I've seen Leetcode Wizard, and I think it's a thing like GPT lets you solve Leetcode. Maybe it's like a paired partner or something. I don't know.
Yeah, apparently. Oh, I think it's called Ultra Code. Like it like watches your screen while you're in an interview, and it like looks at the prompt and tries to give you solutions. So now all these companies are like, they got a little bit of that hesitation in their background, you know? If you're someone who kind of just stumbles and struggles with getting out, like verbalizing a solution. And so,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, Fireship made a video actually like maybe a week ago, and it was like cheating in interviews. But like he talks about like just like the stuff. I guess there was like some guy's tweet that maybe sparked it or something. I don't know. Maybe there's just a growing sentiment that there's more cheating happening. But he puts it like 3 levels. Like one is he calls cheating as looking at the questions, company questions. So using Leetcode. There's a website called 1.2 acre or 3 acres. It's like a Chinese website. Yeah, that one's good. They got lots of company questions on there. And then he goes in like this next level, which is I think it's like using GPT. No, I think it's like using GPT or whatever. And it's like having like your friend in the room with you and all that, you know.
Yeah, no, it's different.
Yeah. It one thing too I think is interesting is that like I feel like 10 years ago, I mean, the interviews were just way easier. Like when cracking the coding interview came out and like the problems that were there. I also don't know if it's new grad versus senior level, but like, you know, life pre Leetcode. Like when I was cracking the coding interview, they were asking about like eggs in like an apartment building and you drop it or something.
Little binary search. Yeah.
Yeah.
Not no more. Now they're talking about Coco's eating bananas.
Nice. Yeah. Okay, and I guess like what was your strategy for getting the Amazon offer? Like, what was your for studying for Amazon?
Yeah, for sure. So
Also Betsem commented, "Yo, what is up, Betsem? He's like I don't know if you know, I mean, I think you know who he is, do you? Yeah, I think I told you. I think you've seen him. Yeah, I did an interview with him, and it was like he solved every Leetcode problem. $1 million. Yeah, that's the hook.
The wizard, man.
Yeah.
Shout out to you, dog.
But he said 10 years ago you were competing against plumbers and mailmen. Yeah.
That is facts. That's cool.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Well, what was your strategy for? I'm not sure how distracting it is. Like me reading chat. I feel like I should probably just be focused on you. I don't know, but yeah. What do you think? What was your strategy for? Yeah, for the Amazon, trying to go through that.
Yeah. So for each company, like everyone has like their own nuance, like how they do interviews, what they expect. So the first thing I did was I talked to a couple of people that are Amazon engineers, and I asked them like, yo, you know, what's best practices? What do people look for in the interviews? Like, am I going to be running my code? Am I not? What kind of style is it? And they said, yeah, it's kind of like Facebook style, except like you're not going to be able to run it. You have to walk through your test cases with us. You're going to use your traditional text editor. So once I gained like the lay of the land as to how the interview is going to go, I then asked them like, all right, Amazon, you guys use a question bank? And he said, nah, we do everything random. Like people just choose whatever they want. I was like, all right, cool. So got to go hit up Leetcode. And so my strategy with this was try and cover all the topics, like the main topics that you'll see in like coding interviews. So like stack problems, queue problems, 2-pointers, different graphs, like BFS, DFS, top sort, and then like random graph, like try. And then I try to cover, I think, like 8 to 12 of those kind of patterns. So I did my minimum threshold before doing like a FANG tier interview was I need to do at least 120 problems. Spread across these. And then I need to do 5 to 10 mocks, and half of those need to be system design. And so that was kind of the little criteria I created for myself before I could do the Amazon onsite. For the actual like passing to the onsite stage, like the coding assessment, I just did a bunch of like random assessments for I think like 2-3 different companies I applied for. They sent me coding challenges, so I used that to kind of warm up and re-get in the game of doing like timed online tests. But in terms of like strategy and preparation, I mainly like strategized for the on-site because I knew I could figure things out for like the coding assessment.
Yeah. Yeah, that's interesting. Like, I mean, well, yours sounds way more thorough, honestly, than a lot of people, right? Like, so like I think for like the junior engineer or whatever, or even someone who's mid-level, right? Like there's not even like, hey, let me ask my friends or even ask Amazon engineers, whatever, like even if it's friends or not, but like they're not doing that. I don't think that they're thinking about proactively doing mock interviews. I think a lot of it's just like, let me just wing it. Let's see what happens. Because I think for a lot of people too, it's some of their first few, like it's their first roundabout. But I think yours is like your experience is more, you've already done it and you already know like what can happen and like what to expect, and you already know like, okay, I should do this to actually improve my chances.
No, 100%. Yeah, and I wanted to. I haven't stepped into like an interview arena for like 2 years, 2.5 years. So I'm like,
Oh, it's been 2 years.
yeah, like this the little gig I was working at. I just someone just handed me the job. It was like a little contracting job. So I didn't even interview since my the mass layoff at Lyft. So
Yeah.
It's been like 2+ years of not doing interview prep, not interviewing with a company, not being on the other side. So yeah, mainly me just trying to make sure I brushed off the nerves. I was comfortable thinking out loud in front of somebody I didn't know. That I'm comfortable in moments when I'm stuck, because maybe I will get stuck. There's nothing worse than getting stuck in an interview and then being nervous about being stuck. It's like a downward spiraling trajectory.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that can for sure happen.
Yeah. So I had to kind of break all those nerves, and so that's why I kind of devised this kind of Rock Lee type strategy. You know.
Nice, Rock Lee. Yeah, I saw your anime profile picture. You got the Gojo? Wait. Yeah, Gojo.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you read the manga?
Nah, I didn't. Like I tried reading it, right? So like Jujutsu Kaisen, I don't read any manga, and the only one I've actually read is Promised Neverland. Because I love the first season. That was amazing. I was like, okay, I got to read this. And then the second one, the only one I've ever actually tried reading, or like I've tried reading several, but like the only one I could is like Jujutsu Kaisen. But like I can't read action, so like I'm just like looking at the pages like I don't know what's happening here, and I've spoiled myself. Like I know what happens, but so I know what happens. I watch all the spoilers. I know what happens, and but now I haven't actually read it. Yeah.
Yeah, they did my boy dirty, man. They did my boy dirty.
That was me on my interviews too. I was like I think I had like I'd done like a lot of prep for whatever before one of my Google interviews, and I was like, I was like, nah, I'd win. Like do you think you'd pass? Nah, I'd win. And it was like just bodied me. Yeah.
No, 100%. That's what I'm on. And it's there's something to be said though, on a serious note, about like positive psyche and like positive thinking, especially with these type of interviews. Like it's so key to say to yourself, I'm him, you know?
Yeah.
And just, believe that you can get this, and that the person on the other side is just there to validate that you should be there.
I think it even impacts too for some people, like even do they even want to study, right? So like their mindset of like, I can't do this, and so they're like, what's the point of studying? I can't even, like, there's no way I'm even going to pass the Google interview or whatever, so like let me just not even solve problems, right? And that it happens on that end too, and it happens too in the interview where it's like, okay, like you just try less or whatever, like you could probably have figured out the problem, but you're just like, you just kind of give up a little early, and you don't think you can solve it. So I for sure think there's like a mindset aspect. I kind of wish it was more talked about, but nobody's really gonna care. Whatever.
It's so important. It's ridiculously important. I was looking at I took a picture of like I did a bunch of interviews when I was at Nextdoor pre before I got nice, So I was working full time. I thought I was it. Remember I said I tried to interview with some companies and I got completely bodied.
Yeah.
One of these companies was the pin company. And
what's the pin company? I don't know what that is.
Pinterest.
Oh, okay.
And I just got wrecked at a problem that, like, looking back on, was so light. Like, I took a
Yeah.
picture on Snapchat of the, like, I saw a Snapchat memory from 2019, and I looked at the problem, and the caption I wrote was L. I looked at the problem. It was so light. I'm like, yo, it's
Yeah.
so crazy to me how,
Yeah.
like, just doing continual practice makes things so, like, looking back at it, so trivial.
Yeah.
Yep.
I have one of my Facebook interviews. So like I would record my interviews, and I think like from like it had to be 5 years ago. I have like one of my Facebook interviews recorded, and I'm like looking at myself solve the problem. Like I don't even want to watch this. I just like I didn't even finish it. But yeah, actually, I mean that interview actually went pretty. I actually passed that one, yeah, I mean I just coding it, looking at myself coding from 5 years ago. Yeah. Okay, so for in terms of like people who I guess are trying to actually, you know what? I don't want to go in that direction. One thing I think is kind of interesting is that like you're really social, and it seems like you, or at least it seems to me that you're social, and you talk to like people. You mentioned to me too that you like actually have like recruiters, like you have like a relationship, not relationship, but like you talk to your recruiters, like kind of like as like a friend, and they can like do favors for you and things like that, which is pretty cool, right? I Yeah, well, I want to hear you. I guess just kind of see like how does that work? Like, how do you go about like? Because I don't think I think 99% of software engineers don't talk to their recruiters, and it's just like, hello, bye, thank you. Um, yeah, how do you go about that? Like, how do you go about having like talking to a recruiter?
No, for sure. So when I talk to recruiters, like, I think of recruiters as a person who, it could be a lifelong, like, relationship. And the
Mm-hmm.
reason I think like this is because, like, tech is so small.
Mm-hmm.
You can have a recruiter that works at Nextdoor today. Tomorrow he's at Robinhood. The next year he's at Anthropic. And this is somebody
Mm-hmm.
I actually know.
Yeah.
And like, thinking of these, like, conversations as transactional
Mm-hmm.
is like one of the biggest mistakes you could make, because
Mm-hmm.
you can get what you want today, but I guarantee you tomorrow, when that boy's at Anthropic or he's at OpenAI and you're applying for a rec and you're not hearing back, you're gonna be like wishing you were more buddies with people.
Yeah.
And so, to bring it like an example, like right now I'm interviewing with Amazon.
Mm-hmm.
I was introduced to the recruiter who I'm working with through a friend who works at Amazon.
Yeah.
Immediately after, like, the intro, we hopped on a call, and I just I said, hey, yo, listen, I know my friend spoke of me very highly. I just want to let you know I'm not here to waste your time. I'm trying to get this back. And so, with that being said, my boy, I just want you to know that when I clear this interview, I need you to make sure I get the numbers that make me smile the hardest. Okay. I don't want to negotiate with you. I know you want me to join. So just do what you can and just be transparent with me. Tell me what the band is. Tell me what you can do for my location. Tell me what you can't. And I'll always be straightforward back. And so that was like the initial tone setting for, like, our conversation.
Mm-hmm.
And then to transact.
Yeah. 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 I mean, there's a lot there too. I'm trying to think of it. Like, essentially, what I heard is that, like, is one, it seems like it's authenticity is like, at least, right? So, like it seems like you're kind of, at least I say like breaking the fourth wall, but it feels like there's like a barrier when you talk to a recruiter and there's formalities. Like they put on like their HR voice.
Yeah.
And there's just different level of talking. And just it doesn't feel like kind of authentic. But at least from my understanding, at least for hearing you, it sounds like you're more authentic. And I guess do you also have like curiosity or interest like for the other person? I don't know if that's like something that piles in. Like for me, like when it comes to talking to people, I love it, and which is why like I do these interviews too. And like one thing is just like the curiosity for the other person. Like I just love asking people questions and talking to them and all that stuff. And that helps me.
Yeah, like I still keep in touch with them. So it's something that like I do like every probably 2 or 3 months. I
Yeah.
check I have like a little list of folks that I continuously like follow up with. It's like
Yeah.
light networking, I guess. And
Okay.
then I have like a more like intimate group of like friends, and then I also have like a group of like family that I continuously like call and check in on. And so
Hmm.
as part of like the networking part, I continuously re-engage with the recruiters. If they're still at my company, like I'll schedule a Slack to say, "Yo, hope everything's going well," or I asked to hop on a coffee chat just to chit
Yeah.
chat and vibe out.
Yeah.
Uh, the recruiter that recruited me to Lyft, like my first week, he bounced. He tried to run his own startup. It didn't work out. Um, then he
How's it
joined
do?
Meta, you know?
Nice.
And so then I kind of left or got laid off at Lyft. I started a startup. He reached out to me. We kind of wished each other well. And he keeps pinging me saying, "Yo, if you want that Meta, let me know."
Nice.
So
Nice.
it's mutual, it's mutual. It's good to make these people as friends, but like the continual networking piece, like checking in on people, having coffee chats every now
Hmm.
and again, see how they're doing. I think this is all part of like I guess my philosophy with recruiters.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Um. Okay. And then I guess going back. Okay. I'm trying to think of like which direction to go to here now. Is because honestly, I mean, you answered really like a lot of stuff, and I think also all this stuff was like super helpful. I think for other people like listening, and uh, one thing I'm curious about, I guess, is like what do you think about like working at Microsoft, working at Lyft? I don't know if you, yeah, I guess what's your thoughts on Fang? I mean, because Amazon too, uh, but I don't know if you want to publicly say like that. But Amazon works you hard. I mean, I can say it, but. So I guess I don't know. What's your thoughts on like the FANG companies, Microsoft, Lyft, and how was it like working at those companies? Um, yeah, did you enjoy it? Things like that.
Yeah, for sure. So I left Microsoft after like I think like 6 months. I got incredibly bored. I joined a team where um, they launched the product, and the product was now in maintenance, and they're just kind of making sure there are no issues in production and doing continual on call
Okay.
for the next, I think it was like 8 months or so.
Okay.
And I looked at my situation, growing, strong, handsome engineer, and I was like, I don't think I should stick around and do maintenance for 8 months. That's not
Hmm.
something that's going to grow my skills or my career. Um, and so, like, I bounced. I joined Lyft. Lyft, incredible experience. Like, I learned distributed systems. That was my first taste into distributed systems. Nextdoor had it's a monolithic architecture. They just use
Yeah.
they use Django um, as their monolith. But yeah, Lyft over 3,000 microservices. They have engineers or had engineers that were like super renowned that came out with these frameworks that got adopted by all these tech companies. So you're with these big heads and you're just
Hmm.
learning. It's like a fire hose.
Hmm.
And I was in love, man. I was like, this is my spot. I'm gonna be here forever, man. I'm never leaving. Then I got laid off.
Yeah.
And so I guess
Yeah.
with these companies, from the outside, like I would have thought Microsoft is more appealing. Like Microsoft's lit, everyone's dream company. Like it's either Google or Microsoft. Like everyone's trying to get in there, right?
Yeah.
But it seems to me like a lot of tech companies are the same, and everything is kind of team dependent.
Hmm.
Like I had friends working in Microsoft that were doing research. I had friends that were working in AI. I had friends that were working on Azure, and they were working like dogs, and they were loving it. You know,
Yeah.
Azure people, not so much. But the people working in AI, like they were growing like leaps and bounds every single quarter, working on impact projects.
Yeah.
Whereas me at Microsoft, shit was tough. I was bored. I was like, oh, this is dead. I'm not liking this at all. And I was working like 5 to 10 hours a week. My parents were confused why I was complaining. So I guess like what I'm trying to say here is like getting into these tech companies is great.
Mm-hmm.
It's amazing. You get good pay. But your experience at all like tech companies will differ based off of like the team you end up joining and like I guess the cycle and the projects available. And so don't get attached to a particular company. Would be my point.
Yeah, and it's rough too with the layoffs where like I mean you just wake up. I mean there's a ton of software engineers that just wake up, you know, that day and now their job's gone, and so you know they got to get ready on the Leetcode prep again and just do that. I think like with the layoffs to happen for me, it kind of like eroded my sense of or like my faith, I guess, in the like just corporate world. I don't know. I guess like how do you feel about that? Like just like corporation, like it's a weird question, but like to have it, is that like, do you think that you'll stay? Do you think you're gonna stay working at Fang? Do you have plans of like retiring early? What's kind of like your long-term goal?
Yeah. So the layoffs kind of reinforced in me this idea that I can't afford to get like rusty with Leetcode. Like I can't afford to not be good at interviewing.
Okay.
Like I always need to be on point. That's one thing. The second thing is in order to like reach my financial target for like retirement, my goal kind of shifted to trying to get the staff, I guess, as reasonably fast as possible.
Okay.
So right now I'm considered a senior engineer. Amazon, I ended up getting mid-level. I got down-leveled. I think wherever I end up, I got the rippling offer, by the way.
Nice, sick
for senior. But yeah, wherever I end up, like I want senior, and then I want to make sure that I can kind of push the staff as quick as possible because that pay is just so crazy different. And I guess just working at that staff level for a few years will get me towards that retirement goal very, very swiftly. So in a nutshell, like I still do believe in employment. I think it's a phenomenal way to fire, like I'm blind. But you like not many people have the opportunity or get the opportunity to really get that done. There's so many layoffs. Maybe people suck at Leetcode. They can't get into tech companies. They can't get interviews. They're kind of stuck in their own situation. But me, I've like built something. I've sold it, and now I'm kind of going into that employment era where I'm just trying to maximize the money coming in as much as possible.
Yeah, I think you'll get it. I think you'll kill it. And yeah, do you know what you do after you retire?
Yeah, bro. Like I'm a very simple dude. I want my house paid off in cash, and then I want the like at least I think like 25 years of like expected expenses, and then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna bounce, man. I'm gonna rent out my house, use that income to fund my expenses abroad. I wanna study Arabic full time. I want to take like 3 years off and just raise my kids back in in an Arab country, so that they can learn my language, Somali, Arabic, English, And then I maybe come back when they're, middle school age, high schoolish,
Yeah,
kind of push in that direction. I think that's something that I'm going to try and push for.
that's cool.
And
Have you been to Africa?
oh yeah,
Hmm.
absolutely. Actually, this past March, I was in Kenya, and this past March I was in Kenya, and I just transited, so that doesn't count. But yeah, I was in Kenya this past March, and then
Hmm.
the December before that, I was in Dubai, I was in Saudi Arabia, I was in Jordan.
Dang,
Yeah, so I travel internationally every 2 years.
that's sick. Yeah, that's nice. Well, I mean, obviously, or maybe not obvious for people listening, but I live in Colombia, the country, and yeah, I do a good amount of travel. I've never been to Africa though, and definitely want to go. I think it's going to be Nigeria will be like the first one. Actually, I don't know. Do you know who Drewski is?
Drewski,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Well, he did one in Nigeria. That's not why I'm going, but
That's it.
he did a video in Nigeria. But yeah, no, yeah. Um, that's
Man, that's
cool.
not- yeah, no, we'll see, man. And I think, did you see that post on I think LinkedIn? The dude from Levels.fyi posted how much comp seniors are getting at OpenAI.
No, but I know that I can imagine that it's a lot because yeah, there's billions in investment. I think Microsoft invested, I want to say like 10 billion or something crazy.
Oh my God! Like it's 800. Here, let me post it. I think I took a screenshot. Yeah, here we go. I'm sending it on school.
Oh yeah, and Prince told you congrats on your Rippling offer. I
Ah,
think
thanks, bro.
that's what he was referring to.
Yeah. Oh, this is L6. Yeah, this is the L6 offer. Dude is getting 1.2 mil a
Yeah,
year,
yeah,
850K in equity. And the
yeah,
crazy thing is, after you work there 2 years, you can exercise, you can sell. Like
yeah,
they have continual rounds where they allow people to sell. So it's liquid money, man.
yeah,
My goal has
yeah.
changed, Raymond. My goal has changed. I'm shooting for OpenAI, man.
Yeah, like, I can see that. Nice.
Oh,
Yeah, one thing too is, or that I've heard, at least obviously, like with BetSimp is like the HFTs. Like that's what I kind of learned from him is that there's like that world there, but you have to be crazy good at Leetcode, like
yeah.
better than me, like better than kind of everybody. Yeah,
Yeah, I'm good off that. And you got to do C++
yeah,
and whatnot. Yeah, I'm
yeah,
good.
C++, yeah, and all that.
No, I'm not interested in that.
Yeah,
I'm not interested. I like sticking to the product. You're more versatile. You're not stuck in one market, stuck in New York or
yeah,
or London.
yeah,
Like it's not. I'm good off all that. And they work you like
yeah.
dogs.
Yep,
They
yep,
work
yep,
you like
yep.
dogs because most of your comp comes in the form of a bonus when you're at the senior level. Like yeah, you'll get 300K salary or whatever, but your bonus is going to be like 1.2x or 1.5x your salary. So it's all based
Hmm.
on how well you perform in comparison to others. So
Hmm. Okay, another question I have too. This is what I ask, like, I guess I'm curious about it, just for people who are like minorities in tech, and yeah, you being black, me being black. Curious on what your thoughts are being black in tech. There's not many. Do you have any thoughts on that? Do you care at all? Like, do you notice it at all? Like, or do you feel like you're treated differently or whatever? I don't know.
like I don't think I am treated differently. Sometimes I feel as if I need to show my competence.
Hmm.
And this is in a room where like it's like 15 people, everyone's Asian. And I'm the only
Yeah,
black guy.
yeah.
So I'll get asked the question and I'll have to pause, really think, and then give
Hmm.
an answer that I would feel happy having given if I were to walk away right now from the meeting.
Hmm.
So like, I guess there's that sometimes. Maybe that's a bit of imposter syndrome speaking versus just me being black and everyone else being something else. But
Hmm.
that's something that I feel now and again. But outside of that, I mean, it's just a job, and I know that back in my mind, like everyone knows I got the juice, that I'm nice, you know. And so
Yeah.
I just assume everyone's on the same page when they're speaking to me or asking me questions.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. It's interesting too, because I think, well, I was talking to some guy, or not some guy, but like, I was talking to someone about this where like programming is really cool because it's like non-deterministic, right? It's just that essentially it's just that, like, does your code work, right? Like it's very easy to tell if someone's good at their job or not, because like they like, not easy, like, I'm you know, we're stretching it too, right? But like easier than most other jobs. There's not that as much bias as there is, and that's kind of really a nice thing in a program. Like you could be 10xing or whatever performance on your peers, and it's like kind of pretty obvious. Whereas for something like being maybe being a lawyer, maybe doing real estate or something, I don't know, but like it's harder, more bias, moving up the corporate ladder, being a manager, whatever. But one thing I mentioned all that, and I was going somewhere with it, was that like it's so yeah, it's nice that there's not as much bias, or at least probably there isn't. At least for me, like I don't notice it and I don't think about it like a whole lot. And I was gonna say something. It was actually like pretty good and tied into this. Not ending on that statement that I just said though, but give me 1 second. Give me 1 second. Was dang, no, I don't remember. Whatever. Yeah, whatever.
No worries. Yeah. Yeah, it's different. It's different. It definitely feels good when you got other Black people working with you. Like I often find times like where I'm the only engineer, not only in the team but in the org that's Black.
Yeah.
That's happened several times, and so whenever I see another Black engineer, or another East African engineer, like we got that, we got that nod, you know.
Yeah, I know for sure. 1000%. 1000%. I think I was in Colombia like doing like some Leetcode problems in like this co-working space, and there was like another Black guy there, and I heard him like talking about coding or like just programming and stuff like that. And I was like, oh, like you program, but like we ended up like talking like for a good amount of time. That guy was like crazy smart too, by the way. He like worked at Amazon, he like started his own like startup in like New York for 2 years, but like he's like, I would say he's like, you know, pretty close to your level. He's a super cool guy. But yeah, no, just like that. Like I probably wouldn't do stuff like that, right? Like if it's like someone who's like you know, like honestly, like there's a deeper connection, I guess, to say, did not sound racist, but there's a deeper connection when you know there's someone who looks like you who's around you. One thing I think is like kind of like that I don't like is actually no, I don't want to. It depends on how edgy that I want to get. I'm probably better not to be edgy, but I don't think that like, yeah, I don't know. I don't think it's like 100% like no, like there's no like thoughts of racism or whatever, but for the most part, I mean, I don't even notice anything really. So
yeah, I don't like, I just don't pay attention. Because at the end of the day, like I know I'm the shit. I know my work speaks for itself. And one of the things that I do a phenomenal job of is like, I hype my own work. So I go around anytime I get like I make a crazy performance gain on the system, or I find a bug, or I, root cause an issue that's causing a bunch of problems, or 70% of problems the team has. Like, I make sure everybody knows it's Fuad, the cold dude that solved this problem. Nice. And I'll make sure that, other people are giving me public praise so that I can link that in my performance review. And I'll be like, run me my bonus, bro. I don't need it exceeds. I need it strongly exceeds expectations, brother.
Yeah, that's really important. That's really important just in general. Like you got to actually write that down. When you do something good, you have to write it down because nobody else is going to do it for you.
100%, yeah. So, yeah, that's how I kind of just avoid it, especially being one Black person in an entire org, like I make sure people know my name, not just because of my color.
Yeah.
That's something that I focus on.
Cool. Yeah, I mean, I think that's it basically for this. I think some people messaged some questions.
Oh, sure.
I think Prince asked, how do you plan to negotiate for better offers? Have you ever talked to like a negotiation coach or anything?
No, I read Hasim Qureshi's post on negotiation. I read through his entire blog posts on his process when negotiating with Airbnb. Are you familiar with Hasim Qureshi?
Nope.
Hasim Qureshi was someone who I think it was back in 2017. He is an individual who was a professional gambler. Okay.
Okay.
And then he transitioned into tech.
Okay.
He joined App Academy. He did phenomenal. He became a teacher there. Really stood out from everyone else due to his algorithm skills and really his ability to transmit this information in a way for new engineers to understand. People who are not from engineering backgrounds understand how to these problems. And so he ended up interviewing with a ton of companies. And he ended up getting Airbnb, Google, and like 2 other hot name companies. And in these collection of blog posts, he talks through how he negotiated and pitted companies against each other to maximize his end offer. And I think it was 2017, he ended up walking away with like 340 or 350K total comp from Airbnb. And he lists out his negotiation tactics, his emails back and forth between recruiters, and kind of how he set the tone with each company to make sure that no one pressured him at the end to make a decision. So it was like a master class. I used that to kind of guide myself as to how to negotiate. But I guess to answer the question, yes, I will negotiate. I will negotiate hard. And I set the expectation with all my companies that I'll be ready to enter final talks closer to the end of this month. I have no rush on my end.
Okay. And yeah, I mean, I think that's it. So I think another question, why did you leave Microsoft instead of switching teams?
Well, here's the thing about Microsoft. If you want to switch teams, you have to do a full interview loop. And so am I going to do 2 coding and a system design to switch teams internally? Or am I going to go increase my total comp by an additional 150K by interviewing with a company on the outside? So my thought process was, I'm already going to have to interview. I might as well get a bigger bag at a company that maybe is smaller. Because at that point, Microsoft was the largest company I've ever worked for. And I didn't like that too much. And so I went from startup to super big. I said, let me find something that's mid-sized. Lyft was the perfect fit.
Yeah. Cool. Last thing is like what advice would you have for someone who is, I guess, starting their job hunt, like at like 2 years experience, and they got their job basically when it was like the high end of the season, or let's say they just got laid off, right? And they were just planning on staying at their company, and now they got to like find a new tech job. I guess what advice would you give to them? Or I was gonna say, if that question's hard too, or it could just be like, what advice would you give to like a college student who's like deciding to study computer science?
I'll take the first one. If I just got laid off and I have 2 years of experience and I'm trying to get a job, I'll tell you exactly what you should do or you should consider doing. One, set a super ambitious goal. I want to work at OpenAI, or I want to work at, Google AI, or I want to work on just something ambitious.
Yeah.
Number 1. Number 2, create a roadmap. Reverse engineer how you can get there. What do you need to learn? What do you need to do? All these tech companies, they have what they expect from you listed on their site when you're applying. Like, you got to know these algorithms, these algorithms, these algorithms. You got to be nice at this. And then on top it off, they have a YouTube video that shows you what the interview is going to be like. So
Yeah.
you already know what they're going to ask. So boom, you've made intention as to what your goal is. Number 2, you know how to get there. And number 3, schedule it out. Make a week by week plan and goals.
Mm-hmm.
Achieve it. Whether the goals end up being 3 months or ends up being 6 months, figure it out. And then I guess the fourth thing I would say, or third or fourth thing I would say, is like, whatever your original plan is, like, cut it in half and then rush to get it done. The way I think of like switching jobs or doing anything is like, the longer it takes, the harder it is for like the hamster wheel in my head to keep spinning on it.
Yeah.
And so I need a quick turnaround. I know I can focus and go 110% for 3 months, and then at the end of that, I need something. I need to walk away with something, or else I'm quitting. Right?
Yeah.
And so you need urgency. You need not only dedication, but you need urgency, and you need a sense of like rushing to try to achieve the goal. I think if you do those 3 things, like, you'll either hit your goal or you'll hit a goal that you'll be very pleased with, and you'll be, at the end of it all, you'll still be grateful that you put in all that effort.
Great. Yeah, great. I think that's good. Nice.
Yeah.
All right. Cool. Yeah. So that's it. That's all I got. Thanks for doing this. Super helpful. I think too, you said a lot of things that were really, really huge for people, just improving, like, just during like the job hunts and all that. So that's great.
No, for sure.
Did you want, I guess, I don't know, you're not really like public at all. I don't think you're doing any public stuff, but yeah, did you have anything, I guess, that you wanted to publicize? Shout out? I don't know. Publicize your LinkedIn? I don't know. I have no idea.
No, not at all. I mean, add me on LinkedIn. That's about it.
All right.
Yeah,
All right.
That's it. My name's Fuad.
All right. I'll put your LinkedIn too at the bottom of this.
Sweet.
All right. Cool. Thanks, Fuad.
Thanks, man. This was cool. This was smooth.
Yeah. Good luck in the DoorDash interview.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, let's see what happens, man. I did most of the problems. I'm gonna finish out the rest today and early tomorrow. So
nice.
Yeah.
I have been playing Kingdom Hearts 1. I beat the game in like 3 days, and then now I'm playing Kingdom Hearts 2. So that's what I'm probably going to continue doing.
When I played that game, I always thought that if I beat so like there's this stage, the Colosseum in Kingdom Hearts 1. There's a Colosseum where and then once you beat all these people, like, you end up fighting somebody with this long ass blade.
Sephiroth.
Yeah, I always thought, like, for some reason, I read online on Reddit or something.
If you beat him, you beat the game.
Yeah, not only that, if you beat him with like no hit, bro, you didn't get touched. Like, there's like a special cutscene that'll come out. Somebody trolled the hell out of me on Reddit because I spent days playing this, trying to perfect whooping them.
Yeah.
And yeah, bro, I almost cried, bro. But,
yeah. No, I think he's literally the hardest boss too in the game.
Yeah.
I was looking. I was trying to fight Riku with a Keyblade, and I was like about to cry. But then I realized, you have to like equip like some items that reduce shadow damage, and I was like, okay, there we go. But yeah, another time too, I played I bought, when I was like 7 or 8 or something, I was super young, I bought a Gundam game for PS2, I think. And I thought that game was Transformers. I thought that if you beat the game, you get to transform into a car. I played that for so long, my disappointment.
Dang.
Yeah.
Hey, yeah, the only other L I can remember is it was back in the Blockbuster days. Like, I went to Blockbuster and I rented out This was like Final Fantasy X, but it wasn't Final Fantasy X. It was Final Fantasy X2. It was all chicks.
Okay.
And so I'm playing this game. I'm like, yo, I just got to keep playing it. And then the dudes are going to come out. I'm like, what the fuck is this? It's just a bunch of chicks the whole game.
Nice.
Dug like 70 hours into it doing random side quests.
Nice. The Blockbuster days, crazy.
Yeah, back in the day, man. Back in the day.
All right. Well, thanks. Yeah, thanks, Fuad. I'll talk to you later.
Yeah, appreciate you, man. Peace.
All right. See you.